Math is a weapon, and one of the most dangerous mathematical weapons are statistics. A famous quote says that there are three types of lies: lies, damned lies, and statistics. And in this video, we're going to talk about a few misleading statistics so you can start to learn to think in the ruthless and brutal methods that you need to in order to be properly dominant at math. Let's take a look at this. This billboard says that more than 80% of dentists recommend Colgate. This is, by the way, technically true. And most people, when they see this, they imagine that 80% recommend Colgate and maybe 20% recommend something else, maybe Crest, who knows. But the way that this particular survey was done was actually very, very different from what you're thinking it was. Dentists were given a sheet and said, check any toothpaste that you recommend. Most dentists will say, yeah, pretty much any toothpaste works, so they'll just check them all. So they said that, so yes, more than 80% said that Colgate functions as a toothpaste, but that doesn't mean they said it was better than anything else. They just said, which would you recommend? Most dentists checked all the toothpastes. Here's another misleading statistic. A third of domestic violence victims are male. Technically, that is actually true. And when people hear this, they think, okay, 2/3 of the time, say men, husbands are beating their wives or boyfriends are beating their girlfriends, but 1/3 of the time, girlfriends are beating their boyfriends or wives are beating their husbands. That's surprising to most people because it doesn't really seem in accord with anything that makes any sense. It's a misleading statistic. It is true, by the way, that a third of domestic violence victims are male, but it's usually being perpetrated by another male. A lot of domestic violence victims are simply sons being beaten by their fathers. It's a hugely common area. Sometimes it's two people, a husband and somebody else, or just two men that are fighting over the same woman. That's often also classified as domestic violence. You can also have two male partners that get into a fight. Again, that classifies as domestic violence. So just because the victims are male, it doesn't mean the perpetrators are female. And again, we have a tricky and misleading statistic. In order to deal with statistics intelligent, you need to be way more on your guard than most people are. You need to be ready for every kind of manipulation and ready to fight back against it. Now, finally, we'll end with one that's kind of silly. This one shows that as organic food sales go up, autism also seems to have gone up, autism diagnoses. Now, the actual reason that this happened is during this time period, people became more aware of organic food and people became more aware of autism as something to worry about. And so more people got it checked out and more people, there was a higher rate of diagnosis. This is a coincidence, but because it's happening during a similar cultural change, a higher level of cultural awareness, the two are going up at the same time. Misleadingly, if you look at this wrong, you could either see you might think something like organic food is causing autism. Clearly, it's not that. Dealing with statistics requires that you are very, very skeptical, suspicious, and you keep your brain 100% on and on guard.